Hello, everybody. I'm Don Benito, and welcome to the Glory Reds podcast. And today we are going to have, you could call it a season review, and then we're going to discuss about Ruben Amorim. And not to mention, we are also going to talk about the transfers. I mean, what is happening at Manchester United? You know, Ineos, this is just a little sidebar, right? Ineos, if there's one thing that I would say I appreciate them, and I'm not even trying to be like, oh, Ineos are here to save the day. But you know what? The way they are swift in the transfer market, I must tell you, I am very pleased. You know, their first transfer window last season, you know, just before Ruben came on, when they bought the De Ligt and their first window, they were swift. You know, they were just moving in. Yes, we didn't get all the players that we wanted, but my God, there's an element of where was this all along? You know what I'm saying? And without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So I want to address the Ruben Amorim situation because I think people, and I don't know how many times I've said this on Glory Reds, that people have a tendency of forgetting. That's my issue. My issue with you, my issue with the fans or rival fans or anybody in this modern day football is that they tend to forget. And it's very crazy how easily we forget, because the season is over. Manchester United came 15th. We were not 16th, by the way. We beat Wolves. We were above Wolves. But then there's still this element in some of the fan bases. Like, there's a part of the fan base, there's this element of Ruben out. And I don't understand it. I don't understand how that makes sense. I mean, even in the Glory Reds podcast, in our WhatsApp group, I feel there's a bit of a rift. But what I'm not sure about is the game that we played against Villa. Because some people think Ruben Amorim is not a good manager, that he has got no tactics, that his football is rubbish. Now, for those people that say that, I ask you this. What say you about Aston Villa? Yes, Aston Villa got a red card. Yes, they were down a man. But even before that, we were controlling the game. We dominated that game. Absolutely, from start to beginning to the end. We dominated that game. We played some of the best football that I have seen this season from Manchester United. Remember that time when I used to tell you guys that, you know, Manchester United, when you know that these boys are on it, right? When you know that the boys are on it, like they got the memo, you know, back in the days, there was this, you would see it from the beginning of the game, the start of the game, the way they tackle, the way they're closing in, the way they're pressing, you would see that, this game, the boys, they're not messing about. Be it Chelsea, it didn't matter who you were. When the boys were on it, on that day, you were out, you were toast. And that Aston Villa game was a bit of a throwback for me. It was a bit of a throwback because I'm watching everybody and everybody's playing good football. And I'm asking myself, this is just a couple of days from the final that you guys just lost. And I asked myself, I even asked in the group, where in the bloody world was this football during midweek? Where was it? It was criminal. It was criminale for these guys to go out there, perform the way they did. Honestly, I don't even, like, you know what's, okay, here's the crazy thing. I wasn't upset against Tottenham, right? Because obviously I kind of like anticipated the outcome. I prepared myself mentally for us losing, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the final day, I swear to you, I didn't think that the boys were going to come in and do a job. I swear. I was telling Pastor D that I doubt, because Pastor D actually was the one that was like, hey, these guys, Made me laugh. Now I'm not sure if he was like, these guys better go out and kill Aston Villa or whatever, or he was like, you'll see these idiots. They will go out there and smash Aston Villa. Now, to me, in my head, I was just like, how? How? Because the football that we played against Tottenham when it really mattered was shocking. So I'm not expecting these guys to come out here and put out a worldie like they're playing the World Cup final. I'm not expecting it, and that's exactly what they did. Those guys put up a show. And the crazy thing about it is, like, I was before the game, I kept telling myself, like, boys, don't screw this up. Play your good football. Because I already knew that Ruben Amorim was going to have a speech after the game. He said it. He mentioned it in his press conferences that he was going to say something. He was preparing something. So I was expecting something like that. But I didn't expect these boys to come out there and play the way they did. Yes, I'm exaggerating perhaps by giving them too much praise, but I'm not when I say that was some of the best football that I have seen Manchester United play. You understand? Like, I've been complaining about Dogo, and I'm and fair enough. Fair enough. I have been, because I don't like players that drop themselves. Like, this is a sport for men. I don't expect you to be falling and rolling and doing all sorts of nonsense, trying to get fouls and all. I don't like that. Like, even if you're my player, I don't connect with it. It annoys me. So when I see my player dive or fall easily, it pisses me off. And it immediately puts me on you. Like, yay, what the hell is this? Hence why I have a problem with Hoyland. As big as he is, I don't expect him to keep on being dropped every time. Stand your ground. And then the difference between him and Xerxes is when Xerxes comes on, you see Xerxes use his body. And I'm asking myself, why is Rasmus also not using his body? But I'm not going in on Rasmus. I'm not. My point is, Dogu played some fantastic football. Yes, he was annoying, but for the first time, I was like, all right, anyway, I guess maybe because also the gaffer left him, right? But I was impressed with him. Delo came off the bench and then came off again, which was strange. I don't know why that was. But then again, the front three, it was an issue. Mason Mount was good. What's his name? Rasmus Hoyland was good, and what's his guy also's name? Ahmad was good, but there was an element of, I don't want to use the word complacency, but there's this thing that they have. It's almost like, you see, like Ahmad, right? Ahmad could have buried that game a long time ago, but it's certain decisions makings that these guys do that prevent them from actually, like, putting the team to bed. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, passing it too late, or not giving the pass, or not making the run. Just little things that can create a whole freaking situation. So now I move into this whole thing of people coming in and saying Ruben Amorim out, saying Ruben is whack, Ruben is this. Are they forgetting what? And for me, what's annoying is that, look, for the first time you have a gaffer who's very open and honest about the workings and what's happening at Manchester United. He, despite what you guys may think is the gateway into the club, the gateway for us to gauge what's going on. If Ruben is not happy with the players or with whatever's happening at the club, I don't think he can hide it. I mean, he can try to, but he wears his heart on his sleeve. You understand? He expresses himself. And that's actually one of the reasons why he's endeared himself to us and why we love him, is because he's open and honest about the situations that are happening at Manchester United. And we need to keep on giving him that liberty, because if he closes in, then we go back into this thing of not understanding what players are doing or what's happening. You see this Garnacho situation, had it been anybody else, maybe I mean, Eric would have put it. You would have disciplinary actions, and again, Eric Ten Hag loved Garnacho, so I don't think this rift would have been there. But then let's just say um, Ole. Ole would have, put his hand around the guy and let's move on. That kind of thing. But anyway, Ruben Amorim after the game gave a very touching speech, and honestly, as fans, we needed to hear that. Now, some people are complaining. Some people are saying, nah, I don't know what you guys want from this gaffer. I don't know what you guys want him to do. He has told you that, look, this season was bad. He is sorry. He takes full responsibility for what he has done and everything. He tells us that the bad times are over. And I agree. And if you don't understand how, I will explain to you. This is why Don Benito's here. I will explain to you what's happening. And then he said the good times are coming. Now, I know a lot of people are going to ignore that message and be like, listen, we're only going to believe that when we see it, or we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That's cool. But the gaffer has spoken, and I actually believe that we are never going to have this season again. A season as bad as the one we've just had. This was the worst of the bunch. And this was rock bottom for us. Do you understand? This, not qualifying for Europe, this was rock bottom for us. So there is nothing, like we can't do worse than this. That's what I'm trying to say. And this was bad. But moving forward, how can we sit here and think that this club is going to remain where it's going to remain? It's impossible. So now, one thing I appreciate is that Ineos have backed them. They have said, look, full that they're going to support this gaffer, and like, look, bad results are going to be the things that destroy anything. But he's being backed. You need to understand that. The gaffer is backed. So you complaining and saying, Ruben, this is just confusing the whole situation. Just get on board, fall in line, and let's move forward. This guy is the right manager for the club. Trust. Don't even be surprised if we win something major next season. Don't. I know people are going to be, because, but don't be. Don't be surprised if we start playing some amazing freaking football. Don't. When we start scoring people, don't say, oh, where's this coming from? It's not coming from nowhere. There is a build up to this, and Ruben Amorim spoke about it. Now, I wanted to talk about this whole thing about Ruben, because people don't seem to understand his message that, look, I did a good thing coming in early, which is 100% correct. How do people not see that Ruben coming in early was the right thing to do for this? Was the best thing that could have happened to this club? How was that possible? Now, imagine, right? We would have kept Eric Ten Hag, right? And I am not saying that Eric Ten Hag would have put us in this position, but I doubt, because Eric Ten Hag is a fighter. He would have found ways. He would have done whatever it is that he does to figure and help us fight, help us challenge. But now that's another story, because Ruben is there, right? We cannot go into this, if this, because the truth of the matter is, when Amorim took over from Eric Ten Hag, we were better off. Ruben has only won 7 matches out of 27. Let that sink in. Is it Ruben's fault? No. The journey's fault? Yeah, perhaps. What do you mean, Benito? The journey. The journey is the journey that we have just, we're on, but it started off when Ruben touched down. Ruben has come to the club and changed the formation. There is no way, like, you go to any club, look at their formation and how their system and everything, and tell me if they started their formations or whatever, the style of play, the way they play the football. Did they start it midweek, mid-season? No. This was all something from the beginning of the season. So you have Eric Ten Hag with the 4-2-3-1. Then you've got Ruben with the 3-4-3. Do you see how this changes? And Ruben was adamant when he arrived that, look, you are going to fall in line. You are going to fall and follow this 3-4-3. And it was painful to watch. And I remember, and here's the thing that annoys me. We all remember those moments. We all remember that moment where we looked at like Harry Maguire, right? Standing there, not knowing whether he should pass or not. Delict, not knowing whether he should pass or not. Martinez slowing down the play. We complained. We were getting a little bit annoyed and we were like, what's happening? But the truth of the matter is they were trying to understand the system. We complained then. And even when we complained, people still said, no, the football is not improving. We are where we are today, and people have got the fucking nerve to say that there's no improvement in this system. Like, what are we playing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, if you are one of those people, I'm sorry, football is not for you. I'm sorry to say this, because how can you sit there and say that there's no improvement? Yes, we're not scoring goals. Yes, we're not doing all those other things. But have you forgotten that players have changed their minds? They've rewired their brains to this 3-4-3. So how can you sit there and say that, nah, this is not easy? Now, that change, that adapting to a new system, that all that, us coming 15th is the consequences of that. Now, I'm not saying that us coming 15th is because it is. It took time for us to understand the system. It took time for the boys to get to fight, to really understand and get the memo, if you know what I'm saying. But they have. And I remember the time when he was coming in, I was like, look, this is an opportunity for us to see the players who are going to be for the future. Because there's no way that Ruben Amorim is taking this whole lot. That was around the same time we were complaining about player power. Remember, we were complaining, saying these players need to bounce. It's never the manager. It is the players. Do you remember, my people? Remember. Because if you remember all these details, and then you go now and then you look at what Ruben Amorim said. He said, look, the storm is coming. He even said it in his speech. The storm is coming. You thought, nah, you were expecting any manager bounce back. And then what happened? Boom. We got smacked right in center. The Premier League we became allergic to the Premier League for some reason. And people are going to sit here and have the nerve to come out here and call out Amorim and then pump us up in a way that is cringe because you don't what the fuck? Why are we complaining about things that honestly, when you deep them, they are not really big issues? Thank you everybody for listening to the Glory Reds podcast. It's Don Benito.